You can't catch a narcissist cheating. Like, it keeps happening over and over, and whatever you see, hear, say, do, it doesn't matter. Still doesn't work. You still can't catch them, and it still isn't something they even admit to. And so you're going to see this happen over and over where narcissist runs from it. Have you ever suspected your narcissist of cheating only to find yourself entangled in this web of denial, deception, wondering, like, what do I actually believe? Now, the reason why I said a narcissist you can't catch cheating is because their reality is going to shift so much that they're not going to believe anything you say when it comes down to you catching them cheating. They're like, no, that didn't even happen. We'll talk about that more in a moment. If you guys are new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness of narcissistic abuse. I help break people free from the toxic trauma bond, the obsessive thinking and ruminating of a toxic person, the feeling of like, I feel peace because I'm not with this person anymore, but I don't feel peaceful because it feels weird and I still want to go back and I still want to interact, and so many confusing thoughts and feelings after you've been in a toxic relationship. If that's you at all today, please reach out for help. You can go to rawmotivations.com. Would love to speak with you and help you move forward in your journey of healing. Now, when I talk about this piece of a narcissist cheating, and this is coming from like my own frame of reference, this isn't just some theoretical thing. This is me that's saying, hey, I've been here and I've been the person that has cheated on my wife multiple times. I've got videos about that. We've talked about that. I'm not going to belabor that. If you're new here, sorry, newsflash, this is part of my story. Watch some of my other videos, okay? But when we talk about this piece of cheating, the narcissist isn't going to get caught. Now, what I mean by that is not that you don't catch him and not that you don't know, but the fact that he doesn't admit it. The narcissist is not going to get to the place of like, oh, you caught me, like I'm going to do a ton better, and then they actually do better. Typically, oh, like you caught me, and then they continue to move forward in a couple different ways and a couple different reasons to avoid that piece of accountability. Okay, number one would be denial and gaslighting. Okay, one of the easiest things the narcissist is going to do to like starting off is giving you this mirage of innocence. I'm actually an innocent person. I'm actually a good person. I'm actually, oh, and the list goes on and on. Of like, I need to look this way, I need to appear this way, so I'm not at fault, so I don't have to have the accountability, so I don't have to have the responsibility of being a bad person. Did you ever have that where you were arguing with him and he was like, I'm a good person. Why don't you believe me? Why don't you see that? Like, I'm a good person. I didn't cheat on you. I didn't do this. And then you start to wonder and believe like what's actually true, because he keeps telling me this and he's trying to tell you this to convince you that there's something there when there's actually not. One of the lies that I believed for so many years was I am a good person. That was like a core lie that I thought. When in reality, my actions didn't show it. The facts didn't show it. My life didn't demonstrate it. My marriage didn't exemplify that at all. Because I was a cheater, I was a liar, I was a person who keep doing the things over and over and over again, but trying to justify in my mind, putting a stamp on it, being like, I'm a good person, I'm a good person, I'm a good person, when I wasn't. A narcissist is great at denying anything. Didn't happen. I didn't do that. Wasn't me. What are you talking about? Trying to avoid accountability. Even if you have evidence, even if you say, I saw you with so-and-so, you didn't. We weren't doing that. What are you talking about? And you see their story break down a lot of times, but it doesn't matter. They're already in the lie. They're already stuck in the denial phase. You're not going to unstuck a narcissist from being in the place of denial. You might have more exposure and they'll admit another piece, but they'll avoid the accountability that they even denied somebody to start off with. And so there'd be this aspect of like, I'm going to stick to my story. Sometimes I would stick to my story even when it was ludicrous. Like when someone's like, that's ridiculous. Doesn't even make sense. That's what happened. Like I've talked to people where the chickens made him drive into the fence. Like the chickens did it. Like we're talking, sometimes you get some ridiculous excuses, but the person will stick with it. Stick with it over and over and over because it feels better than being accountable. It feels better than being responsible for the shit that he's actually done. So like you might get to a place where you're suspicious and you're like, I think he's cheating. I'm not sure. But instead of admitting anything, instead of having any aspect of like admission of fault or what might happen, he might just gaslight you, switching it around, making you question your own perceptions, making you question your trust, making you question your insecurities, like your level of confidence, all these different things, because like, why would you even bring that up? Like, of course I've been faithful for you. Like, why would you even think that? Like the only reason you'd be thinking that is because you're the one that's probably cheating. Like, you see how that gets turned around? It gets turned around so much, and people don't realize it. People don't realize that it's actually happening to them. Narcissist denies and denies, then gaslights you into believing an alternate reality and continues to move on. And so it's hard because it's hard to be able to uncover this, and it's hard to be able to have a narcissist admit. Just admit it. I saw you. Just admit it. I have a picture. Just admit it. They saw you. They don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what you saw, but you definitely didn't see me. Maybe you saw my lookalike, and maybe you saw someone who looks like me. How many of you have had just the narcissist like gaslight, deny in like different ways? Like, if that's you, just like leave a comment with like one of the phrases. Which one resonates? Like, that's not me. That's someone else. What resonates? Because a narcissist will deny and gaslight you to avoid this piece of you actually catching them in the lies and catching them in the cheating. And so the narcissist will move into making up more elaborate lies, having these great grandiose stories, having these great ideas, having these great thought process, and ultimately trying to deflect. Now, we talked through a piece of like deflection of where narcissists try to distract you. And a lot of times they distract and they distort your reality by love bombing, by gaslighting, by future faking. Those are the three popular ways. And so deflection piece might be the future faking of like, well, we're going to do this. Well, I was going to do this, but then this happened. Well, like this is going to happen, but we're going to plan this. And it's like, but I'm going to change. I'm going to do better. So all these things of like trying to deflect the current moment for a future prize. So it's like taking the carrot and holding it farther out of like, yeah, but that's there. So just ignore the bad stuff here so we can get to there. And you're like, okay, well, we'll ignore it. Let's work through. And then you get to the carrot and he's like, yeah, no, this is just the bad carrot, but the good carrot's over here. And it just keeps going. You've seen this where he's moved the goalposts over and over and over because the lies get bigger and bigger. The deflections get more and more because a narcissist, when he's confronted, is skilled at elaborating lies and constructing and diverting your attention away from what actually happened. You caught him in a lie. You caught him in cheating. You caught him on all this. You didn't catch him because he's not going to believe that. He's not going to let you believe that. This didn't happen. This is my lie. I'm going to stick to it. You don't know what you're talking about. Narcissist is going to deflect everything you throw at him. This is why some people like want to focus so much of like, let me expose him. Let me get all this out in the open. That's great. But if it works, it works. Very rarely it does because you're only throwing stuff. You're throwing bouncy balls at a concrete wall. You're being like, why don't they stick? I don't get why they don't stick. It's because the person that you're interacting with is not willing to acknowledge the truth. Not willing to actually see it, not willing to admit that they're at fault. Narcissist is going to get into a compromising situation. He's going to start to weave a narrative that makes him out to be the victim and starts to deflect the blame onto the accuser. What do I mean by that? What I mean is if I get caught cheating, I'm going to turn around the fact that I got caught cheating and I'm going to put it on you. That you're the reason why I cheated to start off with. Therefore, you're the main problem and the cheating isn't the problem. The cheating is an outpouring of your issues. The cheating is the cause of you not loving me right, of you not being like respectful enough to me, of you not actually caring about me, of you not, and all of a sudden I'm the victim and you're the abuser. You see what just happened? A narcissist will do anything and everything to deflect the current frame, the current like focal point away from the things that they've done and put it back on you. How many of you watching this video would say, I've been told I was the cause of his cheating? I've been told that I was the one that forced him to do this, that made him cheat. It's a bunch of lies. It's a bunch of bullshit. Narcissist wants you to believe that to stay stuck. And the narcissist wants you to believe that because he feels like if you believe the lie that it's your fault, then he'll feel better about it actually being his fault. Even though he knows it is, he's just trying to deflect it. He's just trying to put it onto you so he can feel better about himself. That's it. You're also going to see why a narcissist doesn't get caught cheating is because he's constantly evolving. This whole piece of like narcissists don't change. They change all the time. They modify the behaviors, they change where they go, they change what they do, they change how they sound, how they smell, all these different things. Narcissist does this all the time. Narcissist evolves. Oftentimes, a narcissist continues to evolve on tactics to be able to conceal the cheating, to be able to conceal what's actually going on. Sometimes we'll refer to this as changing masks, like appearing and changing the version of them, because they're adept at evolving into different tactics to better conceal the things that they're actually doing, to hide it in a different way. Like they did it on social media. Now you caught them on social media. Now they magically don't have social media. Now they're doing it through email. Now they're doing it through text. Now they're doing it through their work computer. Like there's so many different ways that a narcissist will mold and change how they're showing up to avoid accountability. It makes it super hard to be able to catch them. It makes it super hard because you get close and then they change it up. Sometimes it's just getting close and they just make it seem like it's everyday things. Like we've had people where you're like, he would never cheat on me. He never has time. We're together 24/7. But not when he's at work and he's cheating on you on his lunch break. Not when he's supposedly in court, but he's telling you he has court when he actually doesn't, just so he can go have a day with someone else. Like these things happen so often, people don't realize it because you don't see it half the time because he's constantly changing tactics to be able to avoid getting caught. Narcissists might see that the old tricks are losing their effectiveness. They're losing their control over you, so they adapt. They become more covert. They become more elusive. They change up what they're doing to avoid getting caught. I would do this in multiple different ways. I would need to avoid and change like how it was showing up. I would need to add a level of accountability, a level of trust, but then slip underneath another level of lies. I'd be like, well, here, if you don't trust me, here's my location. And so I'd show my location. Then I just shut my location off. Then I got caught with that too many times. And she's like, well, you're shutting it off. Be like, no, I'm not. It must be the signal, right? Gaslighting, deflecting. And then be like, okay, let me make sure that it's always on. So then use another phone. Could leave a phone, then the location is going. Then could still message from the other phone. Like there's so many different ways of like, okay, let me get better at what I'm doing to be able to hide who I actually am so that I can continue to cheat and get away with it. This is what a narcissist will do. This is why narcissists won't get caught in the sense of like, you won't get caught and actually admit that there's something wrong because it'll just continue to happen over and over and over again. If a narcissist is not willing to acknowledge the truth, expose that so there's no going back, nothing's going to change. If you're on this path today and you need to have clarity in your situation with cheating, with abuse, with the things you're struggling with, please go to claritychallenge.net. It is the one thing that we've seen success of people doing multiple people that have gone through this and have seen huge success in breaking free mentally and emotionally from the fog that he's got you in. If I can help you in more of an accelerated environment, go to realmotivations.com. Would love to talk to you and see if you'd be a good fit for our Thriver program where we break people out consistently from toxic narcissistic abuse. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. We'll have more videos coming out about narcissistic abuse and how you can be free.